welcome to
Hello. Totally booked right
booked right
now.
now. Nailed it.
Yep. So on point with that. Way to go,
Yes.
us. Yes.
My name's Kirsten. There's Cammie
And
right
I'm
there.
hello.
Today we're covering the book, The Dark Lord's Guide to Dating and Other War Crimes by Tiffany Hunt. Cammie, take it away.
You got it. So I'm going to preface this entire first episode of this book with saying that if romatasy is your genre, you need to push pause right now on this recording and go and read this book before you listen to us.
It is good.
It is so good and it is so funny. And there are so many quotes that I just have in our discussion on this because I could not leave the quotes out of this story. It is so funny and it is so amazingly good. So hope you guys are ready for this little bit of a wild ride. Okay.
I'm excited.
The chapter titles are hilarious. I think that we started reading this book and I took a screenshot and highlighted it and sent a picture of it to you because it was so funny. The chapter is called Kidnap Someone Cute and Pretend It's Ambition, Not Loneliness.
So we know already know he's lonely. He's a lonely little boy.
But he's villainous, so he can't say he's lonely, right? The book opens with Lord Kazimir Blackrose slamming his fist on a table and arguing with an enchanted mirror. The mirror is advising him that the only way the heirloom of dominion will activate is with a marriage bond to an heir of the heroic bloodline, which Kazimir doesn't like at all, and he looks to his advisors for help. Kazimir has control of or wields shadows as part of his dominion magic and uses them to intimidate and sometimes strangle his advisors when he doesn't get the answers that he wants. One of his advisors suggests instead of courting a princess, use the villainous methods he's known for to kidnap a bride. So he's like, all right, seize a bride, perform an involuntary ceremony, then toss her in a comfortable cell once we've tied the knot. The mirror tries to warn him that coercion may not get him the results he wants, but he dismisses the mirror and starts planning who to abduct. The descriptions of the available heirs that have heroic blood ensues.
So funny.
Oh my God. My personal favorite, and I think we discussed this as well, is I refuse to spend an eternity clarifying which Princess Violet I kidnapped because there's so many Princess Violets that are available.
Like the one who breeds rabbits? No, not that one.
Not that one. Then Lady Arabella Evenfall of Solandris, and I'm probably saying all of these names wrong, so I do apologize, is suggested. And after it's discussed that her father keeps her away from court after a few incidents of her causing mischief, it's decided that she would be perfect for Kasimir's plans. It's known that she has inherited the first hero's healing gifts and that she is about to go to her summer residence, so catching her on the road would be the perfect opportunity to kidnap her. There is some concern about her refusing the marriage, but Kazimir is confident in his ability to bend her to his will. His advisors recommend at least trying to make her transition smooth with gifts, which he declines, and also insists that he be the one to do the kidnapping. And for the love that all that is dark, someone get me a cloak that says villain. I want to look as dramatic as my reputation demands. Griffin, one of his advisors, responds and is probably trying too hard, adds, do we also need a kidnapping net? So
Yeah.
I have to pause because this whole scene, it's just silly. Everything that they're saying is silly. It feels like a spoof. It feels like a romatasy spoof book.
Yeah. Yes. I think, And then my first thought, I was just imagining like Megamind. And when he says, get me a cloak that says villain, I imagined a bedazzled cloak that says villain on the back of it.
Yes, me too. And it
I had to reread it. Also, so funny. I think it's like the last sentence or something, but I highlighted it. He's like, I had a lady to kidnap, a wedding to prepare, and an artifact of unimaginable power to claim, which that cadence reminded me of Princess Bride when Prince Humperdinck is like, yes, I've got my country's 500th anniversary to plan, my wedding to arrange, my wife to murder, and Gildor to frame for it. I'm swamped.
Oh my gosh. So it really does. There's so much that comes in with this book that is
Mhm.
it's so funny. Okay. So next we cut to Lady Arabella, and she is indeed traveling to her summer residence and with her, I assume, lady in waiting. And she's reading a letter from her father stating that she needs to be ready to meet another potential suitor. They joke about Arabella setting her past potential suitor's cravat on fire. She's kind of known for setting things
Oh, man,
on
she does
fire
set stuff
and
on fire,
people.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, Arabella looks out of her carriage window and feels something ominous, a wrong kind of magic, and urges the driver to hurry, but the carriage gets ambushed by Casimir and his men.
Okay, we have to pause because the way
Yeah.
he's described, shadows
Yes.
bled out of the tree line, coiling together until they sculpted a man-shaped storm. Runes of liquid silver crawled over the onyx fall of his cloak, and rain flowed over his broad shoulders, revealing lean, predatory lines built for ruin. He took one deliberate step forward, and the forest itself seemed to kneel, its branches bowing in the wind, holding its breath, while his dark gaze locked on me. I was like, if not hot, why hot-shaped?
Oh my gosh. It's so great. Okay. Okay, Arabella is frightened and reflexively uses some of her healing magic at the men that are attacking. She recognizes Casimir immediately, but puts on a brave face and taunts him slightly and infers she knows who he is and his reputation. We can skip the pleasantries if you don't mind. I have exactly zero interest in your villainous monologue.
He's like, shame. I prepared an excellent one. Villains do be monologuing. That
Yes,
is
they do. And when I just even first started this book, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna have a great monologue." The first chapter, I, like, highlighted it,
yeah.
and I was like, "He, at some point, is gonna have a great monologue, and I can't wait for it." Um, just bring it on. It's gonna be amazing, and I can't wait. Um, so Arabella thinks she's being kidnapped for ransom and tells Casimir that her father won't pay ransom for her. And when Casimir reveals he's
Yeah.
stealing her to become his bride.
Put a pin in that.
Yes, yes, for future. Yes, okay. When he actually is intending to steal her to become his bride. Arabella doesn't believe him, but convinces him to let her lady in waiting and the rest of the staff with the carriage go back to her castle, her father's estate. He attempts to use compulsion on her to come with him, but she resists it. And after a slight struggle, he opens a portal and brings her back to his fortress.
Smooth.
So smooth. There is a small tussle when they come out of the portal in his study at the fortress, and he ends up pinning her to the floor. Arabella takes this opportunity to notice just how devastatingly handsome he is.
Right. And she describes a single dark strand of hair fell over his face. And there's this Graham Norton interview with One Direction where he's reading tweets to them. And Zayn has like a lock of hair over his forehead. And one of the
The
comments is, I want to strangle myself with that piece of hair. And so anytime there's that imagery, I'm always like, I strangle myself.
Mhm. That's amazing. That's so great.
That's the only thing I can think of.
And Arabella is surprised that he appears to be close in age to her, and she thought he'd be older based upon how many tales there are about him and his conquests. She attempts to get off of him, and in a moment of distraction, she tries to buck him off of her, which apparently really confuses him because, lady hips really have that power.
I
Stop men
mean,
in their tracks.
women are always killing people with their vaginas, hips, legs in movies, like
Mm,
that move where
yeah.
they jump like onto their face and then
Yes, that's
like make them fall to the ground. So stupid.
yeah, I don't know how to explain that, but like a full, a thigh tackle, basically,
Yeah,
like they
it's
are jumping
like
face.
okay.
But in this moment of weakness for Casimir, she's able to flip him so she's on top and pulls a dagger from his belt and puts it to his throat. Although she seems to have the upper hand, Casimir points out that she hasn't ever actually killed anyone and he doesn't think that she'll do it. Unknown to her, some of his advisors look on while this is happening, but don't intervene at Casimir. He kind of like makes a motion at them, like, just, it's fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and one of them is like taking notes, like the scribe.
They're just there to record the initial interaction of these two. Oh my gosh,
So
so
funny.
funny. Casimir ultimately uses his shadows to take the dagger away from her and flips them again, so he's back on top of her. He thinks she's starting to become compliant when she gets doe-eyed and says she doesn't want to fight anymore. But it's all an act to try to get access to the dagger again.
Classic.
I know. Oh, I'm just a poor sweet little girl. Like, don't hurt me. Yeah, and then she
I'm just
just
gonna cry.
don't hurt me, please. After she attempts to knee him in the groin, he tightens his hold and tells her that this will be the only time she'll be able to take him by surprise. She refuses to bend after thinking about the year that her father had kept her imprisoned in a tower and snarks that this is the best first date she's ever been on. Kazimir responds with, "Good, because it will be your last." He's a little, oh, he's so funny. Okay. Arabella questions why she was chosen to be his bride, and Casimir's vague with his answer to this. He instructs his staff to leave them be, and they discuss the terms of her staying at the fortress. Her general defiance is intriguing to Casimir, and he internally admits to being curious about her challenging nature and how things will ultimately work between them. He sets some really strict rules for her moving about the fortress and demands her cooperation to marry him. He's intentionally vague so that he can go back on these plans later. Like he's just kind of like, "Hey, you're going to get married to me and
Mhm.
you don't have a choice in the matter. But what's going to happen after? I don't have time to talk to you about this
Right.
right now. Thanks." However, he does drop the bomb that their wedding will be the next day, which she
Yeah.
adamantly
She's like,
refuses.
"What?"
He's like, "Hey, I kidnapped you to be my bride, and we're getting married tomorrow, so be ready."
Mhm.
Casimir is still using his shadows to keep her still when a servant comes in to notify him that her room is ready. Casimir doesn't appreciate the servant starting to stare at her. I think I forgot to mention this, but it was like raining when he abducted her, so her dress
Oh,
was like
I forgot about
soaking
that.
wet. Yeah, and so the the servant who came in to let him know the room is ready is like oogling her basically, and he's getting jealous
Mhm.
already that
Yeah.
some of his staff is kind of eyeing her a little bit. Um,
I also highlighted this
yeah.
area, like, when he slams him into the wall, I was like, "It's giving, like, Anakin, Kylo Ren, like,
Yes.
Force crazy people."
hmm and then he uses his shadows to slam the servant into the wall and starts to strangle him. He calls to one of his advisors, Thorn, to take the servant to the dungeons and threatens him to not look at Arabella ever again.
He's like, "Start with step 17 of the torture manual, the one with the spoons." What a great, like, it's just so funny, like.
This book has made me giggle through the entire thing.
Yeah.
Casimir realizes that Arabella will not be tamed by imitation tactics, and he's going to have to reevaluate how to keep her in line. Arabella is taken by another advisor, one of his other advisors named Vex, to her rooms.
And already during all of this, like, their fight, like, basically from the moment they saw each other, it's just filled with tension.
Mhm.
And he's already, like, he grabbed her chin at one point, and I was like, Sir?"
I know.
She's been here for,
What
like,
is it?
2 seconds.
The face grabbing. It gets me so good.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So Arabella is being escorted again up to her room, and she can't help but feel some kind of way about Casimir defending her honor when the servant was oogling him, since she recollects back to her father did not stop any men from like leering at her, making comments or passes at her. So even though she's in a strange situation, I think she's actually feeling almost like more safe than like not
Mhm.
safe, but she doesn't view him the same way as what she kind of feels like her father allowed to happen to her in
Yeah.
regards to men. Yeah.
I think also she's wearing his cloak, and this is the first time we get, what I will call a smell profile, which I was like, "Is this a joke?" Because she's like, "It smells like winter storms and steel, undercut by the smoky tang of charred wood." What? I was
Yes,
like, "Is that supposed to smell good?" Like, please tell me that's a joke.
so every time there's a smell profile in a book, especially like fantasy, because they're like
Yeah,
it always
I
seems
know.
that their smell profile is like tied to maybe their magical abilities or something, right?
Yeah,
Like I don't know
but
how
they're
to
just
explain it.
scents that I'm like, I can't even imagine. Just say they smell good. Like, why are we doing
I
this?
like the way they smell, and I couldn't pick out
Yeah.
the scent of, like, anything.
Right.
Like,
I've
be like,
never described how anyone smells. I'm just like, "It smells really good." I can't.
Yeah, and you telling me that he smells good, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm
That's
like, you
easier than me trying to
yes.
imagine this weird ass smell that you just said. I'm like, metal doesn't smell
What?
good. It
No.
actually smells terrible.
Weird. Such a weird I know whenever steel. What does steel smell like? I'm
Right.
baffled by that
I would
description.
assume, like, if you've been touching money, that's what it smells that's what I'm imagining.
Hmm, yeah, maybe we're just not around
You
enough
know what I mean?
swords
Not
and
cool.
shields. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So the walk to the tower where her rooms are located is really long and requires a lot of stairs, which Arabella really doesn't appreciate since she's feeling pretty tired after her tussle with Casimir and her brief use of magic. She's surprised with how nice the room is and gently touches some black roses that are on a table, and they bite her. Vex failed to mention this to her when Arabella initially asked her about that.
Oh my and I
She's
laughed at
like,
this
"Oh,
initially. Yeah. Like, "Oh, they bite." Um, like, thinking they were just clueless villains, being like, "How nice. I'm gonna give her these beautiful flowers," and not even thinking that, like, they are carnivorous. Come to
yeah."
find out.
Yeah, we find out, but this made me laugh so hard because she's specifically asking that, "Oh, these are such beautiful flowers." I think they're black also,
Mhm, yeah.
so it's a unique color, and she's like, "Oh, what are these?" And then she goes and touches the petal and it, like, bites her fingers. Um Arabella asks Vex about the staff that was with her in the carriage, and Vex informs her that they were sent back to her father's estate. But beyond that, she doesn't really know what happened to them. And Arabella hopes that they're not in too much trouble from this. And you made a note in this, and I was going to just add to Vex is the steward of Sky Spire. We're not really sure if that's going to come back and
Yeah,
be relevant at some point, but the fortress is also
yeah.
called Sky Spire. So
Right, which
maybe
we don't refer to it as that ever, but
yes,
just in
it's
case.
just in case. Vex leaves and Arabella starts to explore her room and notices that they're very high up in the air. We find out it's like a floating citadel basically is what
Mhm.
she's living in. And so now that kind of clues her in that she's not going to be able to just sneak out a window to escape. And she finds a wardrobe full of beautiful clothing that appears to be exactly her size and admits that even her father would not have provided her with such nice things. She thinks about the reasoning behind being chosen as Casimir's bride and deduces that it must have something to do with her bloodline in the first hero. A servant named Pip brings in her meal and she very politely thanks him, and that surprises him. He is kind of baffled that there's any kindness shown his way by her, which is going to be a little bit of a clue as to kind of how the fortress is run and how Casimir's people are potentially treated a little
Yeah,
bit. Because her
and
simple
this
thank you was, he
just
was like,
right, triggered something for me, like, Pip, we know it later is a gossip, and so I wonder if that's, like, how all the rumors started about how staff are gonna be treated better
because, oh my
just
gosh.
because of
Yeah,
this.
yes, because she said thank you for him bringing her a
Yeah.
meal. Yes. Um, Casimir storms in without knocking a few moments later, and Arabella complains to him about the biting roses, which Casimir says he'll talk to Griffin about, one of his advisors. And Arabella then taunts him about how he hasn't even really proposed to her. And then the bickering about him kidnapping her and her cooperation ensues. So Casimir condescendingly says, Lady Arabella Evenfall, would you do me the honor of becoming my wife? I promise to cherish your power and make every submission worth the risk of wanting more.
He
Which
kneels down and everything, and she's like,
I
"That's the
know.
worst proposal I've ever heard." I was like, "Oh, okay.
It's like,
That's pretty
wow.
good."
I mean, yeah, that's not too bad. Okay. But I think he was like it was supposed to be
Uh,
kind of sarcastic. So maybe, she kind
yeah.
of picked up on that. But
I mean, she was just
um
kidnapped too, so.
yes. She gets mad at herself for finding this proposal a little alluring, though. And they go back to snarking about that if that was, she wants to know, was that your first proposal? And then he goes and
Mhm.
says back to her, yeah, well, was it your first declination? And she tells him that threats aren't usually part of courtship. Arabella attempts to get the upper hand and negotiates some of his previous strict rules, which in return she will marry him and cooperate with his plans. So she'll go through with it. She'll kind of do as he asks, but he needs to give her a little leeway with some things. Her requests include free reign throughout the fortress and helping her hone her magical skills.
Yeah. Oh, and this is where we learned her father was like restricted her magical education.
Education. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And she wants him to be honest with his plans for her. The final condition that she lays down is no sex between them. And while she doesn't say it, it's inferred that she's unsure of his ability to respect her boundaries. And although he doesn't appreciate her
Hmm.
implications, he agrees to all of her requests. The one caveat to him giving her these freedoms is that she must marry him before he'll divulge his full plans, which seems, I mean, I don't know that I would agree to that, but, part of the conditions, I suppose.
Well,
Um,
yeah. And it's like, what else are you going to
and
do?
then exactly. So she counters with this that she needs his assurance that he won't kill her immediately after marrying her. He agrees and says that she'll have his protection, including from her father. To the no sex rule, he says no sex until you ask for it.
Yeah. I also was like, oh, who's going to cave first? I hope he begs.
I do too. Oh my gosh, yes. He wards her door and says she's free to roam, but any attempt to escape won't end well for her. After he leaves, she swears the roses are laughing at her. So they're
Yeah.
a little more sentient than maybe she originally thought, or she's just really imagining things. Yeah.
Yeah. And all these things, like it seems to like cave right away to all of her stuff. But it's like,
Hmm.
one, he already wasn't planning to have sex with her. They talk about that in the first chapter.
Hmm.
And, you know, the mirror seems to be trying to say something about like the marriage and what needs to happen. And he's like, shut up. We're not having sex. And then, and his advisors, whatever, they're all having that conversation. And then Arabella also has a truth sense, which is such a
Hmm.
handy gift. So she knows that
Hmm.
he's not lying about the conditions. So at least she has that to like make her feel safe.
Right. And it's like in her internal monologue, she hasn't really come out and told us that that's like what it is, but we get this sense at this part in the book, at least, that she's got some sort of ability to kind of, or she has a really
Yeah.
good gut instinct, is almost like how I viewed it when I first started reading it. But we do come to find out a little bit later
Yeah.
that it is actually like a truth or lie sensibility
Yeah.
that she has.
Well, she
So.
was, yeah, it says, she's like, I frowned, waiting for the pricking behind my eyes, my magical truth sense to indicate he was
Hmm.
lying. And I was like, I
Hmm.
want that.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I want that too, for sure. That would be
Although that would probably
great.
make you like the most cynical person in the entire world.
Yeah, maybe I don't wanna know. You know what? Maybe I don't wanna
Yeah.
know. Maybe not everything. Um, so this next scene goes to from Casimir's point of view, and he's kind of upset with himself for accepting her conditions so easily, and he's already wondering what else he's gonna end up relinquishing his control onto her. He's kind of a pushover. Like, he was like, "Well, these are my rules." And she's like, "Yeah, well, I want this." And he's like, "Okay. So, I guess we can do that."
Oh no, she's hot. I have to say yes.
Yeah. He ends up going to his workroom and he's brought a nightingale by Pip, the same servant that brought Arabella his food. Pip brings up some information about the upcoming wedding that needs some clarification, or that Casimir needs to kind of go and help out and make some decisions on. And that pisses him off because he doesn't want to make decisions about the wedding. And he dismisses Pip, which freaks Pip out because he's pretty rude to him, and it causes Pip to break some
Hmm.
dishes and cut his hand. Casimir kills the bird that Pip had brought him with his magic and pulls its life source out. It doesn't really say what this is. He's
Hmm.
using it with a drop of Arabella's blood that he got from the biting roses. Sneaky, they
Sneaky,
did.
sneaky.
They did have another intention. And he mixes it with a drop of his own blood to test their magical compatibility. The results are 40-fold amplification of their powers, and the reverberation shakes the entire fortress. Casimir fantasizes about what all he could do with this power, like take over entire continents, but he's not sure how to feel about having such magical compatibility with someone who has been so defiant of him so far. Arabella awakes the next morning and is surprised to find that the wards Casimir set up do not confine her, and tests to see if she really is free to roam like she had requested.
She also gets to pick her own clothes to wear. So We love autonomy.
We love it. Love it. Love it.
She's like
After
purposely wears not a dress.
Yes, after after wandering for a bit, she approaches two guards who give her some directions and insight into where certain places are within the fortress. She explores some more and determines that the entire fortress is indeed high up in the air, and it appears that every line and every angle of the fortress seems to be designed for magical synergy, and that Casimir has built his domain to channel unimaginable power. So this
Mm.
we know he's in it for the power. He's pretty power hungry, and has a lot of that's where his ambitions are driven by, is just pure power. Arabella crosses paths with the same servant Pip again and helps heal his cuts on his hand from his hasty retreat from Casimir previously. She tells Pip to blame her if Casimir makes a scene about him being tardy, and she just is thinking about how she doesn't agree with Casimir's scare tactics on ruling his subjects. Every single
Mm.
person that she's kind of come in contact that's on his staff or within the fortress is kind of terrified of him.
Yeah. I mean, it is a little crazy how she doesn't seem afraid of him at all.
Right.
But I'm also up to this point again, picturing Megamind. I'm like, he seems like kind of a dweeb. Like I'm
Yeah.
not really scared of him either.
Yeah.
So when she heals Pip, she notes that she doesn't feel the lightheadedness she usually feels after using magic. So I was like, is the castle
Hmm.
making her more powerful, or it's like, what's going on?
Yeah. Little insight into some stuff coming up maybe. She ends up in the
Mm.
observatory, which has a crystal contraption that appears to control there's lightning bridges throughout the fortress. And so it seems like it's just bridges to get from like one level to another that go across like the courtyard. That's how I kind of imagined it. Um
Yeah. Like they're all little floating islands.
Yeah, exactly. But she reaches out and stupidly touches one of them, which causes a magical mishap, and she can hear screaming in the corridors. Griffin runs in to see what happened, and Griffin tells Arabella that he's the Citadel's enchanter, and he adjusts the crystals while using an incantation to restore the bridges.
And he's like, glad he won't be executed. He's like, Lord Blackrose has enough on his plate with the wedding and world domination, the perpetual brooding. I don't want to make him mad. Like, Griffith's my favorite. He's
Oh,
so
he's
funny.
great. He's so funny. And he's surprised that Arabella was able to disrupt the crystals because they're only supposed to react to himself and Casimir.
Hmm. Yeah, and he's like,
So
wow, you could touch them.
yeah.
Usually you need a few rituals like goat's blood, nude chanting under the new moon. You could just touch them.
And
It's
then
so
I'm like
funny.
thinking of like these kind of dorky guys like out nude chanting. You know what
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean? Like just
Yes.
thinking of
Also,
people.
Griffin, I'm pretty sure he's human, but I just don't imagine him as like an alien looking person.
I don't
Like
know why. I kind of get that too.
in Lilo and Stitch, I didn't go back either to see how he was actually described, but a little alien that is like, Earth is a mosquito sanctuary. Like, that's how I imagine him, as that little dude.
Yes. I could totally see that. Arabella, after they've been talking a little bit, she finds out that he created the crystal lightning bridges and explains that the bridges respond to the needs of the citadel and adapt to traffic patterns and security concerns. She's very impressed actually with his work and asks him what else he's created. He lists a couple things, but my favorite is I also had a rather disastrous attempt at self-writing poetry quills that only produced erotic sonnets about tentacles, but we aren't supposed to talk about those anymore.
Yeah, he is my favorite. I highlighted that too. So
Oh,
funny.
so funny.
Uh,
She then asks him if he created the roses. He admits that he did and unintentionally admits that they're specifically grown to draw blood to test for magical resonance of people. She's super pissed that
yeah.
Casimir took
Ruh-roh. Now she's pissed.
yeah, yeah, that Casimir took some of her blood without her consent and wants to know what he wants it for. She demands that Griffin bring her to Casimir, who is in his workroom, or she'll touch all of the crystals and really cause some mayhem.
He's like, all right, if he incinerates me, it's your fault. Which
Yeah.
reminds me of Blades of Glory when he's like, if you cut my head off, I swear to God. My favorite.
Oh, it's so funny. Griffin tries to persuade her not to tell Casimir that she knows about the roses on their way to the workroom.
Yeah, like So don't you want to drop the polite note of complaint instead? We don't have to go in there.
He's like, please don't make me go in there with you. But it doesn't work. And he takes her to the workroom and she just opens the door and bluntly is like, why did you take my blood? What is going on? Now we're at Casimir's point of view and he takes zero responsibility for stealing her blood.
Yeah.
And he tries to spin the whole thing that Griffin is to blame and that had Griffin never told her, she wouldn't even be mad. So she needs to just get over it. Like if you wouldn't know this information, you wouldn't even be mad. Which
Yeah.
what
It's your own
what a
fault for
man
finding it out. Yeah. He's just like, oh, you found out about the roses? Darn it.
Bummer. But he tries to like smooth it over by saying that it's basic procedure to test the strength of someone's blood. Arabella questions if he ever would have told her at any point, and he responds with, well, after the ceremony, and at that point it wouldn't have mattered. He's like trying to just be like, it doesn't matter, I've already done it, so just get over it. Stop being so upset over nothing. She pushes further, asking him again what he's using the blood for, and he answers honestly that he was testing how magically compatible they are, but hides how much their combined power amplified everything. Arabella then tells him that she'll never trust him if he does things like this, and if he wants her cooperation, he needs to tell her what he's testing and to simply ask her for things if he needs them from her. Kazimir kind of reluctantly agrees.
Like, fine. From now on, I'll inform you of lab work that involves your precious bodily fluids.
But
so good.
but he I know. But he reminds her that she's still his prisoner and will need to adapt to the way that he does things. She responds with, adapt doesn't mean surrender, Blackrose. You should learn the difference. With this being only their second day that they've known each other, Kazimir is
I keep being like, oh my God. Like it hasn't not even been 24 hours.
No. Kazimir is surprised once again by her defiance and ability to stand up to him. He tells her that there are other ways to keep her in line while he's stroking her cheek. So they made this deal that there was going to be no sex, but he's being a little pushy about that. But Arabella tells him he's not being very creative with his threats. Like, she's like, I've heard this all before, man. And he asks her how to gain her respect. She says respect is earned, not taken. He amends their agreement again in her favor and tells her he'll personally oversee her magical training and he'll be more honest with her. And I just have to input real quick. They are flirting so hard with each other.
Yeah.
With all these
banter is bantering.
Oh, there's these thinly veiled threats between them. And honestly, like I've kind of made this comment already, but he is not much of a villain or a hard ass because he just gives in to all of her demands pretty easily. He's just like, yep, okay, sure. That sounds great.
Yeah.
I guess we can do it your way.
We do love a sociopath who is a simp.
We do. And
like everyone's scared of him, but he would never hurt her.
He would. He's a psycho to anyone but her. Or will do. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. It's giving Tommy Shelby.
Yes. But okay.
Let's not get distracted.
A minute. Kazimir then reminds Arabella of their wedding ceremony, and she asks how soon he'll start training her. He just says soon, and he's trying to dismiss her. But her final question is, if my blood hadn't provided the results you had wanted, what would you have done? And he responded that they wouldn't be having this conversation, and he implies that he would have already gotten rid of her if her blood did not kind of have the results that he wanted. They had briefly touched hands during this conversation, and Kazimir is reeling from the spark of magic he felt between them. Was it just magic or was it something else?
The hand brushing.
Yes. Oh, it's like Pride and Prejudice, my favorite scene. Any movie ever.
The hand acting is exquisite.
It's exquisite. So the wedding dress for Arabella arrives late, and she's with Vex, and Vex is stressing about it when the attendant finally arrives. The dress is a velvet midnight blue with intricate silver embroidery, and she's given a silver crown inlaid with sapphires. So it sounds
so pretty.
So gorgeous. Yes. Yeah. While the servants are doing Arabella's hair, Vex asks for a strand for the ceremony. And we just want to take note here that Arabella is clocking that Kazimir, he at least seems to be listening to her request for him to ask her for things, especially I guess when it's, parts of her own body that he's needing for things.
Yeah. That's so Yes, so weird.
Weird. And Vex gives Arabella a calming draught. There's kind of this pretense that it's to help her get through the ceremony. But actually, they're getting ready to cross a lightning bridge, and it's Arabella's first time having to do this. So she's actually pretty happy that she was giving that calming draught
Yeah.
because she doesn't particularly like that sensation. And she hopes that she'll eventually get used to that. As they're crossing, Vex explains that she's going to be able to use the bridges without a token like the rest of the inhabitants require um, to indicate where they're allowed to go within the fortress. So he's like really kind of opened up anything and everywhere for her to go, which is again, he is keeping his promises with these things. So she's just kind of internally taking stock that he is
Doing what he said.
yes, exactly. Arabella and Vex arrive at the Citadel, and Griffin greets them with the request not to mention the dress delay to Kazimir.
Right. And he calls him his darkness, which just it just sounds funny. His darkness.
Yes. Griffin says that he had nearly incinerated the tailor's first attempts, and he mumbled about my wife is not a showpiece for lesser men to oogle. So he is possessive of her
Right.
already, regardless of maybe it's just that she's going to be his wife and that's why he's possessive. I don't know, but he's like, yeah. And I'm like, how did a dressmaker already have 3 attempts that were not
I don't know, magic.
been a day? I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been a day.
Yeah, I know. This gives Arabella pause and asks if Casimir personally oversaw the making of the wedding dresses, to which Griffin responds with how he basically set fire to the first 3 for being too revealing, too traditional, or just not to his taste. She is actually kind of concerned with his propensity for setting things on fire, which Griffin says that he rarely burns the things that he can't replace. So he's at least including her in this.
Yeah.
That
She's like,
he, yeah, you're irreplaceable, at least so far. So he probably won't set fire to you. She's led through a hallway to the main chamber of the Citadel, where Vex gives her kind of a last little chance to run. It's kind of a cheeky little like, yeah. So are you going to try to run? This is kind of your last chance.
yeah.
And Arabella responds with, and missed the chance to horrify all these fine people. Like she's got a bit of a backbone on her. Like it's already evident. She attempts to pull out all the poise and strength she can muster to walk down the aisle. Casimir comments that she looks suitable, which she quips that he almost looks civilized as well. Again, it's constant banter between them. They cannot talk to each other without getting a dig or two in to the other person. And if this whole thing, it actually does kind of remind me of Princess Bride with Wesley. And I think just the way that in the beginning when she thinks he's the Dread Pirate Roberts, when he first like comes and captures her, it is very similar to this type of connection that they have at this point. They perform the ceremony using Dominion magic traditions, and the rings are made out of bone from the groom and a strand of hair that Arabella provided.
Which I'm like, that seems like a lopsided exchange, but
yes,
I'd be pretty psyched I didn't have to get my bone for one of the rings.
Yeah. They drink from the same goblet and repeat their vows with slightly different vows applied for each of them. The cleric proclaims, in accordance with ancient tradition, if any here object to this union, speak now and be immediately executed for treason.
Yeah, that made me LOL. That was so funny.
It made me laugh out loud too. Oh my gosh. And it's kind of funny. And I kind of wish that was just how it was, because who actually goes to a wedding and sits there and waits for that line to stand up? You know what I mean? And say.
Right. Or burst in the doors like right then.
Exactly.
And I mean, I've had plenty of friends where I was like, they should not be getting married, but I didn't say anything. And now they're divorced. So.
You called it.
Maybe I should have.
But you weren't gonna stop it in the middle. I
didn't want to be executed for treason. That would be terrible.
Yeah. No thanks. Arabella finds this line particularly funny as well, until he follows with, I declare this unholy union sealed, and to now seal the bond with the traditional conquest of lips. Why? It's just so funny.
Just like so, silly. Like, just silly. Also, and then basically Griffin's in the background being like, kiss.
He reminds me of that guy, but do you also remember in Shrek the big
Yes, that's what I was thinking of, actually, and I was
choose
trying to remember.
choose number 3, my lord.
That's actually exactly what I was imagining.
Yes.
But I was like, I don't know how to describe that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's the best.
Oh man, yeah, that's so funny.
uh, so both of them freeze as they had not discussed this prior to the ceremony, but Casimir kind of quietly apologizes and then kisses her. Arabella describes the kiss as possessive, jolting. She feels a spark of something that causes her breath to hitch. However, when Casimir steps away, his eyes are dark with something raw that jagged the edges of his composure, then schooled his features and turned to the crowd as though nothing seismic had just passed between them.
Woo.
So he seems very calm and cool and collected. Yes, they're introduced to the court as married for the first time, and Casimir compliments her on playing her role well. When she inquires what her next role will be, he states as a devoted bride, of course, and advises her to be wary as they go to like their reception, and because anyone easily could be a future ally or foe. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
happens in
I would
villainy.
I was gonna say, I would assume most people that come to a villain wedding like aren't nice people.
Right. Yeah.
They're probably also villains. So now it's the wedding feast, and Casimir is thinking about how good Arabella is at being diplomatic, and she was raised at court. Hello. And so the happy, unhappy couple have received a gift from the Syndicate, which is a group that's notorious for trafficking forbidden artifacts and, quote, occasionally misplacing the souls of their business partners. Oh, you took a sip right when I said that.
I almost had a spit take that went right into the camera. Yep. Sorry about that.
And Casimir's like, yeah, we'll accept the gift. It's definitely a bribe for something we need to do in the future, but thanks so much. And then Vex pulls him aside to tell him that the staff are acting strangely. So this goes back to, I think, Pip being a gossip. And his first thoughts are demon summoning, treason, but no, they're just happy about the wedding.
Okay. I love that his immediate response was that, oh, they're reacting strangely because of something negative, but actually it's because they're all just happy.
And then he goes, were they all replaced with doppelgangers?
He's like, my people can't be happy. What are you talking about? What do you mean?
Yeah. He's like, they're happy in a rebellious sense, or she's like, no, they're just happy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. So yeah, they're being like festive and they're planning a performance to honor the couple and stuff. They think Arabella has negotiated improved conditions for them. He's like, remind them why they fear me.
I'm gonna start
Oh my
crying. I
God.
swear.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone's just loving listening to us laugh about nothing. Okay. Then Vex also asked Casimir if he wants to do anything special in his chambers, like make it romantic in there. I can't. She's like rose petals, warm chains by the fireplace.
Oh my gosh. There's so many funny villainous interludes like where they're having a totally normal conversation and either him or one of his advisors brings up something that is so out there and out of left field. It's like they're trying so hard to be villains and to think and act like villains. Like they have this like I swear they just have this like this is what we should be doing and this is what it should look like. You know, this is what we should be. But it's not at all. So
God. But anyway, yeah. So she's like, you wanted to be sexy in there? And he's like, mind your business. Okay. And then she asks him if he's changed his mind about the no consummation clause. And he's like, mind your business. And he tells Vex to prepare for the heirloom activation ritual tomorrow. That's the important thing. And Casimir thinks again about his and Arabella's kiss at the wedding ceremony. And he wonders what Arabella's reaction will be when she finds out that she's going to have to sleep in his bed tonight. That's one of his rules. So now it's 2 hours into the wedding feast. Everyone's starting to get a little horny. Things are happening. And Arabella's feels kind of embarrassed watching everyone, but she's also kind of turned on. And
Little
she's enjoying her.
intrigued.
Yeah. She's like, "Huh." She is enjoying herself a little bit too, thinking about how upset her father would be knowing what she was witnessing. And Arabella and Casimir have some tension, of course, continue their constant bantering. And he's like, "You don't have to pretend with me, Lady Blackrose. I know." Which I love an enemies to lovers dynamic. Who doesn't? But it's like that idea of like you hate each other, so you don't care that they know your like true nature, and you can just be
Mhm.
super mean and say whatever you want, and then they end up loving you anyway.
It's my favorite trope. Enemies to lovers. I
Yeah,
will I
and it's
will
like so classic.
all day every day.
And now that I
Yeah.
yeah, like, know about it, I'm constantly pointing it out to him, like, "Ugh, enemies to lovers. Oh,
Enemies to lovers.
enemies,"
Nope.
like, in, like, every movie ever. I'm like, "Oh, enemies to lovers." Like,
Yeah. Oh, they hate
duh,
each other? It's a rom-com where they hate each other? It's enemies to
right.
lovers, people.
Enemies to lovers,
Um,
yeah.
I just real quick, when this scene was unfolding, have you watched The Witcher?
Mhm.
Okay, so do you remember when, Gerald first meets oh my gosh, what's the sorceress's name?
Yeah, I don't know,
Okay,
but
but
yes.
she's at
Yeah.
that lord's manor, and she's, like, making everybody, like, have that huge orgy.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is what I imagined that
Yeah.
this was going
Yeah, it's a
on at their
bacchanal,
wedding.
yeah,
Yes,
for
at their
show.
wedding reception,
Things
yes.
are starting to
Mhm.
get wild.
Mhm.
Um, then Casimir tells Arabella that his guests expect a show, and so they dance together. He's just yapping away. There's a "tell me to stop" in there. There's some other stuff going on. Ah! Okay. And then one of, Casimir's ex-lovers who
And this
we
is y well, she shows
yeah,
up later. It's, Viscountess, I don't ever say that right. Morana, and she has
who
a
knows?
corset full of daggers, and she ends up killing a member of the syndicate
Yeah,
during the
get when they start getting
when
into
things
their
get
fight,
wild. Yes, yeah.
Casimir and Arabella are able to slip out of the feast. They're like, "Uh-oh, there's a fight happening. Ta, 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 let's go to bed."
Bye.
So Casimir leads Arabella away. They have to cross the lightning bridge again. Arabella stops outside her chamber, but then realizes that Casimir intends to take her up to his chambers. She resists, but Casimir tells her that they agreed to no sex, not separate beds. I'm like, wow, what a technicality.
Oh, that was so sneaky, and like, she can't refute it. She's like, "God damn it,
Right. She's
you're
like,
right.
God,
That is exact
you,
I did say that.
yeah,
God
you
bless
got me on the
America."
fine
Yeah.
print. Love it.
Yes.
So they come to another agreement that behind closed doors, he'll respect her boundaries, no touching, blah, blah, blah. But in public, he needs to be able to touch her to keep up appearances.
And
Mhm.
that honestly makes sense to me, like,
Right.
he's it makes sense. Like, "Hey,
It's
you don't have to do this behind closed
fake,
doors, but out there, I am the
right.
boss," basically still. Yeah.
Fake dating trope, fake marriage trope.
Yeah.
We love it. Love it so much.
All the
Casimir,
tropes.
yeah.
Famous.
So Casimir wants to seal their deal with a kiss, and Arabella's like, "We already kissed when we got married," but he's like, "That was for everybody else. This kiss is for me." And so they kiss, and it's hot. It's a good one.
And the line in the book from this kiss, it says, "It's an 'I'm gonna fuck you one day' kiss that left no room for interpretation." I was like,
Woo!
"Whoo."
Yep. Arabella is like, "I hate you," which we all know that the true opposite of love is indifference, and hate
Mhm.
is, hate is passion.
Yes, love and hate are way closer in,
Yeah.
feelings. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So then they get to Casimir's chambers, which are cozier and more normal than Arabella expected. That was funny too. Casimir tells Arabella that he sleeps naked, and she's like, "Ugh," and just goes to the bathroom to change out of her clothes. So while she's in there, yeah, Casimir marvels that Arabella has already like fucked him up, and it's only been one day since he kidnapped her. And I just kept being like, "Oh my god, yeah, it has only been one day." Like it feels like so much has happened.
I know, like, yeah,
Um,
so much, yeah.
and he realizes that their kiss on the stairwell was probably a mistake because now he wants more, and he's all flustered. Yeah, classic mistake. And Casimir, we find out now that he has like runes all over his body, which have been mentioned in earlier chapters, like that they kind of hurt him and things, but they help him wield magic. And they hurt him if they're channeled too much or if they're activated for certain spells.
And
Do you have
the
anything to say about that?
just that it was kind of interesting, but it also kind of made sense. I mean, he uses dark magic, so if he's got, like, runes all over his body that help him wield that, I would assume dark always implies in my mind that it's either not easy or it is painful, so it kind of tracks, I
Yeah.
suppose. It makes sense. Yeah.
So he's choosing to also be naked right now because sometimes they're irritated by clothing. So he just wants to like get all of that off. And he wants Arabella to see the monster that he is. Good luck trying to scare her. But he lays on top of the covers on the bed and waits for Arabella. So when she comes out of the bathroom, she's like, "Ugh, you weren't joking. Like you're really naked." And she's like, "By the way,
Ew.
I need proper night clothes." She's just in a robe, and so he sends her to the wardrobe where she finds it's basically just like a see-through nightie, and he won't let her go back to the bathroom to change. So she calls his bluff, just lets a robe fall off, stands there naked, and puts the lingerie on, for lack of a better word.
And yes, because my whole thought was like, yes, if you really hate someone, you'll totally just get naked in front of them. Yeah.
But it's
Sure you do.
different because he's hot. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah. And then Casimir's like, "Uh-oh, now I know what she looks like naked and she's hot." Uh, so Arabella gets in bed, tells Casimir again that she hates him, and puts a bunch of pillows down the middle of the bed. So there's this like wall between them.
Okay. So this reminded me of like, okay, do you remember going on vacation as a kid and you had to share a hotel bed with your sibling? This is what my brother
Yeah.
and I would do. We would make a freaking pillow wall between the two of us, like, don't touch me. Like, I don't want to be
Yeah.
touched while I'm sleeping. And like, that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, this is so childish, but it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're magic
Well, my
wielders. Do
sister
you really
used to
think,
sleep. Right.
do you think some pillows are going to stop anybody? Like, oh my God.
Yeah. I know. My sister always slept in like a capital L shape. So I was always like, "Get off of me."
Yeah.
So then Arabella asks about the runes on Casimir's skin, but he won't tell her who carved the runes into him. He just says that power is worth the price.
Or at least that's what he believes, I think. But I think we're going to get more
Well,
into
yeah, I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody always thinks that.
hmm
And he also tells Arabella that he'll tell her tomorrow why he needed to marry her. And Arabella also asks why he used his bone for the ring. And he basically is like, if you're gonna do something, you need to do it the right way.
And real quick, I just was going to ask you this. They never
Yeah.
say which bone he used, right?
Oh
No.
no.
Where's it from? Where did he get it?
Yeah.
How did
Not
he,
like right.
where did it come from?
As far as we know, he still has all his fingers. Maybe it
Yeah.
was like a
So
rib bone or something.
that's kind of what I thought too. And I mean, it's like magically because they're made into the rings that they both wear. Like it has a
Yeah.
strand of her hair and a piece of his bone. So I mean, it was
Oh,
magically
it
made
could just
to
be like a
be a
sliver
ring.
or something.
Right. Yeah. But yeah.
Hmm.
So I was like, cool. Where'd that
Huh.
come from?
Yeah, good question. The next morning, Arabella's exploring the library while she's waiting for Casimir, and he finally shows up. Arabella asks where all of his books came from, and he says he inherited some of them when he took over the Citadel, stole some, found some, and had some donated, which just the concept of an evil villain having books donated is so funny to me.
Well, and
Like,
I think that like something that made me laugh so hard. And what would have been funny to me is if she would have countered back and been like, "What is your definition of donation?" Because I have
right,
a feeling that like his definition of donation is totally different. He's like, "Oh well, I killed the subject that the book belonged to, and so
right.
then they just donated it to me.
Now they're mine. Yeah.
Now they're mine."
It's different from stealing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have some more tension. Another smell profile, steel and charred wood.
hmm
Ah, I don't like
Yeah.
that.
I don't what.
And then
I don't feel like he
yeah,
would smell good if that's what he smelled like, charred wood and
right.
steel. Like, I don't that's not an
Yeah.
attractive scent to me, but
I
anyway,
know. Change your clothes.
I know.
And then he leads her to his workshop. So while they're walking there, they remark about the staff, and Casimir tells Arabella that the staff think that she's negotiated better treatment for them. So they make some jokes about that. And then we learn that the heirloom Casimir is trying to activate can harness the realm's ley lines. And Arabella's bloodline is crucial because the artifact requires a direct descendant of the first hero. Arabella's a little concerned about this, though, because the ley lines control the lifeblood of magic. And Casimir's like, yeah, isn't it awesome? And
Yeah,
she's
what?
like, yeah, if you want to create a horrible catastrophe. And Casimir's says that Solandris, which is the kingdom, country,
Yeah,
place, I don't
kingdom,
know,
yeah.
that Arabella's from, is so powerful because of how the ley lines fall under their territory. And so Arabella isn't totally opposed to seeing Solandris destroyed because she thinks about all the injustices she endured while living there, but she's worried about the innocent people that also live there. So they get to the chamber where the heirloom's stored, and it's just this golden circlet, and it's pretty underwhelming. But the room has like a magical, magic's in the air or whatever. Kazimir explains basically that the heirloom of Dominion needs her blood and his Dominion magic to guide it, so they're the perfect pair. Match made in heaven. He offers his hand, asking her to come with him into the room, and she debates internally a little bit, but she does take his hand, and she thinks maybe she can shape how Kazimir wants to use this artifact and spare people, or maybe she's just lying to herself and she's just as power hungry as he is. It's a toss up.
It is, and I really do think that she's got a darker side that's gonna come out. I mean, just even her defiance of him and just her reaction to him in general, I think she's
Yeah.
got a lot more of a backbone than, what we've seen so far, so
Mhm. We can only hope.
yes.
Become evil. Yes. So there's a knock on the door, and then all of the advisors, Vex, Griffin, Sims, Thorn, all come into the room, and they give an after action report from the party last night. And they're like, good news. Only 3 people died. And they're also all a little hungover. And it's just funny little
Oh
silly
my
stuff.
gosh.
And then Sims tells Casimir that the court was quite taken with Arabella, and Casimir agrees, says she's enchanting. And he thinks to himself that she's the main reason the guests didn't go completely unhinged crazy. And Arabella is a little thrown off by this unexpected compliment. But Casimir also is continually impressed by the fact that Arabella is not intimidated by him or any of his other minions. I'm like, yeah, you guys are a bunch of loons. Who's going to be scared?
Bunch of goofballs. Total
Yeah.
goofballs, all of them, honestly.
It's Looney Tunes. But it's time to activate the heirloom. So Casimir recites the incantation, and the runes that are on the floor around the pedestal it's on and in his bones all light up. Arabella picks up the circlet and places it on his head like she's supposed to. There's this flare of magic, but then it goes out. So the ritual didn't work. The mirror did try to warn him.
Exactly. The mirror was
I knew something was, I was like, they're going to have to consummate the marriage.
And then I'm like, oh, again, this is here we go, back to Shrek again. The mirror tries to warn Lord Farquaad that,
Oh,
Princess
yeah.
Fiona has a little something going on. And he's like, no,
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to hear
silence.
about that.
I
Yeah.
don't want to care. I don't care. Yep.
So everyone's speculating what the problem may be. Vex suggests maybe it's the bloodline, but Casimir knows that's not the case, and everybody's now on a mission to find out what the problem is. So they all scatter, and Casimir keeps Arabella with him. Arabella maybe seems a little vulnerable right now, a little worried, and she asks if Casimir, but I'm also maybe me, I'd be like, yeah, heh, take that. You stole me for nothing.
I know. I think she was concerned that maybe he was gonna since the ritual didn't work,
Well,
that
yeah.
he didn't need her, just be
Retaliate or something. Yeah,
he's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
kill me now or something. Yeah.
Yeah. She asks if Casimir is certain it's not her. Are you sure I'm not the problem? And he doesn't tell her how powerful their magic was together, but he's like, our resonance tested unusually high. You're not the issue. And Arabella knows he's hiding something, but he's like, yeah, but I don't have time for that right now. I got to figure this out. And he's worried that he might need more from Arabella than what he originally planned. He doesn't want this all to be for nothing. Griffin tells Casimir that the artifact has gone dormant and it's waiting for something.
Marriage consummation is what it's waiting for. Yep.
And whenever sex is a plot point, I'm always like, are we broaching in to the smut category? But then Casimir tells Griffin,
yay for us, right?
oh, right, yeah. We can only hope. So Casimir tells Griffin to keep studying the artifact and stay with Arabella, and he leaves. Arabella's, again, feeling a little worried. Griffin and Thorn aren't really making it better. They're both like, oh, but he probably won't kill you.
You're fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
No worry.
So Arabella examines the artifact a little bit more, and she sees there are roses etched into it. So she finds out that Casimir's been working on this plan for at least a decade, and it was this huge ordeal to do all the research and find this artifact. And Arabella then tells a fairy tale, essentially, about her ancestor, the first hero, and how roses are really important to the first hero's power. They're not just decorative. So she asks if they've heard the legend of the hero's garden. And then Arabella remembers her mother at this time. Her mother died when she was 8, but used to tell her these stories. And then after she died, her father forbade people to talk about them. So the story is thus. Once upon a time, there was a young man named Sorvin, and he had a garden at the edge of his village. One day, the Shadow King's army showed up, and the village had no defenses, so Sorvin shared 7 magical roses and had everyone plant one by their door before sunset. And that night, when the Shadow King's soldiers came, all the roses grew into massive thorny vines that burned anyone who got close, and the army couldn't break through. It's giving the 10th plague. It's giving Passover.
Yes.
The
Very
Shadow
much.
King, the Shadow King challenged Sorvin to a duel, and Sorvin gave him a rose as a token of peace. And the king was pissed, but as soon as he touched the petals of the rose, his anger went away.
Roses come up so like, this is this whole fairy tale or the history of the first bloodline. It's what
Mhm.
Casimir used to bite Arabella, in
Oh, yeah.
the biting roses. I mean, it's roses are a big theme. They are the flower of the book, I would say for sure. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the rose let him see the truth instead of darkness, and then that changed the Shadow King, and he helped heal the land. And I was like, "Oh, is Arabella the rose? Is Casimir the Shadow King? Like, what's gonna happen?"
History is repeating itself. Like, I literally thought the exact same thing. Yeah, in
Yeah.
this part. Yeah.
So Griffin's never heard this version of the story. Arabella speculates that maybe Casimir's approach is wrong and that he needs to use empathy rather than raw power for conquest.
And I think
And
that that's just like a parallel for how he needs to go about winning Arabella over too. Like conquest
oh
is not
yeah,
going to do it, but empathy, compassion, and kindness is gonna rule the day, basically. So
yeah,
yeah.
cute.
I know.
So the story also goes that the golden rose fields of Salandris were originally planted from the first 7 roses that protected the village, and it's the roses, not the ley lines, that are responsible for Salandris's prosperity. So, cut to Casimir. He's having a temper tantrum in his war room, freaking out about potentially wasting the last 10 years. He tells his mirror to explain itself and tell him why the magic isn't working. And the mirror is kind of giving him shit because Casimir didn't listen earlier. He's like, "Oh, now you need my help?" The mirror tells Casimir that the marriage remains incomplete and must be consummated. Casimir wants proof, and the mirror cites one source, which one source does not a strong argument make, but that's all I have. Casimir is like, "Fuck, we already have a deal." So he's not sure how to broach this subject with Arabella. Casimir goes to his private study, and all the advisors are there. Casimir tells them that the heirloom demands a more complete bond and that the marriage must be fully realized, aka they have to go to Pound Town.
Yeah.
Griffin suggests that Casimir tried dating Arabella and being romantic. And he's like, marriage requires continued affection. And Vex is like, Griffin's been reading some romance scrolls. Don't listen to him.
Of course, he's reading romance
Mm.
scrolls. Like, it just
uh,
fits his entire personality. It's
yeah.
so funny. So funny.
Then Casimir tells Griffin to start training Arabella, and he dismisses everyone but tells Vex to stay. So she knows that Casimir and Arabella have this arrangement, and she's like, suggests forcing, like, that he forces himself on Arabella, which Casimir is like, no, we're not doing that. Which good for him.
Yeah.
And he's like, listen, it's cool. I'll just seduce her. And Vex is like side eyeing him so hard. He's like, "Ugh, I've seduced people before. Okay, I'm really good at it." And she's like, "Okay, maybe you should just, like, court her properly or
Yeah.
tell her the truth." And so he's like, "No." But now Casimir has a new challenge, to woo his own wife. So now Casimir's trying to find out more about the fable that Arabella told, but he can't find anything. Um, he's looking at all his books. You gonna
So
say
one of the
it?
yes, oh, I'm totally gonna say it. So he's looking through, he can't find anything. This I was laughing out loud. He's like, "Well,
Yeah.
unless the answer was hidden in advanced pickling techniques of the Northern Isles, which I hadn't gotten to yet." So he's like literally looking everywhere. And a book about pickling is, oh my
Yeah.
god, just okay, sorry.
And all he can continue to find are tales about the, like, heroic, bloody conquest and nothing about the, like, nice,
Fairy
ethical one or
tale-ish.
whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also enlisted the syndicate to help even though they might, like, try to extort him for that or something. And Vex is like, maybe you do need a different approach, but Casimir's refusing to adapt for now, and he asks if everything for Arabella's training is in order. And then he tells Vex to make Arabella late on purpose for her training session to throw her off. And he's not ready to admit yet that he needs more from Arabella. So Arabella wakes up to an empty bed. She goes downstairs to her chamber to finish getting ready because she doesn't keep anything in Casimir's chambers yet. And when she gets to her chambers, Pip's there setting up her breakfast. So they talk, and he's giving her the kitchen gossip, telling her about past incidents when Casimir has been focused like this. That was also funny. And Pip tells Arabella how he ended up a servant there. And Casimir basically, like, took him in after he was orphaned, being like, shouldn't waste good labor, but, like, in a nice way. Pip also tells Arabella about conditions outside the Citadel and how, like, they're better than most people believe. Casimir protects them from raiders or mercenaries, that the King's Guard doesn't bother much with remote villages. So it's like, sure, he's kind of extorting them, but it's a good trade-off. They're pretty happy about it.
Mhm. Exactly, like, this is just his techniques or execution of things are not the greatest, but he's not a bad guy. Well, he is a
Yeah.
bad guy, but he's not a bad. I don't know. He's not a bad. He's a bad guy, but he's not a bad guy. I
He's
guess I
like,
don't know.
pragmatic.
Yes, yes. He's just, what is the end goal, and can I, like, how useful can any of you people be to me, basically, is how
Yeah,
it
yeah.
seems like he looks at it. Yeah.
Then Vex comes to take Arabella to training, and she gives her boots that Casimir, I don't know if he had them commissioned for her or whatever, but they fit perfectly and are really comfortable. Weaponized competence. Arabella's pissed.
She's like, God, why does he know me so well? Because his attention
Yeah.
to detail. I mean, she's talked about every single item of clothing that has been made available to her fits her like a
Mhm.
glove, and now these boots. It's like he's doing good with that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So, mhm.
So as they're walking to the training room together, Vex is telling Arabella about where they're going. It's down lower in the foundation of the citadel so that the natural magic in the stones, along with its remote location, can prevent collateral damage. And like since the beginning of this book, they always make references to like how many things have exploded. I guess when you're experimenting with dark elemental magic or whatever, things are going to happen. But it's just so funny. Like it's like, oh, this time it exploded. The North Tower got destroyed. Like, just like,
I mean, it sounds like Casimir needs all the funds that he can get to just keep his fortress from crumbling to the ground because it's blown up all the time. It sounds like a very
yeah,
chaotic place to have to live. Yeah.
yeah.
And I think it's also just this comes out and it's like a testament to how much magical knowledge he does have or how much he is continually trying to expand his magical knowledge. He's big
Yeah.
into the research and finding things and becoming more,
Mhm.
I mean, it's all power driven, but it's still he's
Yeah,
got a very intense focus on
yeah.
that.
And I don't remember when, but Griffin says something about that being like, "I work here for him because he lets me experiment and do what I want
Exactly.
and try
Yeah.
new stuff." So Arabella gets to the training room. There's also runes on the floor here too. Casimir is doing a form with a sword when she arrives, and of course he's shirtless. And he starts giving Arabella shit right away, being like, "You're late." And Arabella's like, "I bet you told Vex to make me late on purpose," which I was like, clocked him.
Yeah.
Casimir tells Arabella that they're in a focus chamber, so if anything misfires, the damage stays in the boundaries, won't hurt the rest of the citadel. And Casimir asks about her magical education, so she says that her father only wanted her to study healing, but she learned some pieces in secret. And Casimir knows that she would test her boundaries still. That's how she got the reputation for like being clumsy and doing stuff to all of her suitors. So she also mentions she spent most of her time locked in her tower, which Casimir is not happy about. And he asks, "What if you could control both healing and destruction?" And Arabella's like, "Well, I guess I'd know who I really was." And she is enjoying that. He's like accepting her magic, even if he's dangling it like bait and
Mhm.
using it to get her to do stuff. But so they begin with the fundamentals.
Which is just the whole thing. I mean, he
Hmm.
will not stop. Their banter is just nonstop between these
Yeah.
2. It will not stop. And we are gonna take a pause here. We are about a third of the way through the book at this point, so we probably have 2 more episodes, but if we are super smart and can figure out how to combine our sessions, we will do so and just release all at once. Otherwise,
LOL.
stay tuned for part 2. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Okay, love you, bye.
Bye.